I have some super exclusive news in regards to Prince. Some information that came out about Prince a little bit further back towards the end of, I would say, 2015. It came out that he had a secret son that he had been hiding from everybody. A singer by the name of Capriccio Caesar.
Being married to Prince, it's funny because now I think of it and it's kind of hard to believe.
Have you ever heard of a secret love child? Well, buckle up because this story is straight out of a movie. Imagine this. A mysterious figure claims to be the long-lost son of the late music legend Prince. Yes, you heard that right. Prince, the icon who brought us hits like Purple Rain and Kiss. But hold on to your hats because things are about to get even juicier.
More information on his son Capriccio Caesar and the reason. There's a whole list of information in regards to his trust fund that Prince left him.
Rumors have been swirling like a tornado about this alleged love child stepping forward to claim his royal inheritance. Some folks say he's just after Prince's money and fame. Others whisper that he's the real deal, born out of a secret affair that the world never knew about. Picture this. A young man suddenly emerges, saying he shares the same blood as one of the most enigmatic musicians of our time. It's the stuff dreams are made of, or perhaps nightmares depending on who you ask. But let's hit the brakes for a second and pump them hard. Is this story too good to be true? Can we really believe someone popping up out of the blue claiming to be the offspring of a superstar? It's like a plot straight out of a soap opera. This mystery man, said to be in his 30s and hailing from Prince's home state of Minnesota, embarked on a legal journey to establish his paternity. He's teamed up with Heir Hunters International, who confirmed they're diligently working on his case. According to them, his claim carries weight, supported by evidence suggesting his mother had multiple encounters with the Purple Rain singer back in the 1980s. Prince, sadly no longer with us, left this world without a will or an heir, leaving his fortune up for grabs among his closest relatives. As probate hearings unfold in Minneapolis this week, the true value of his estate remains undisclosed. However, speculations abound, estimating it to be a staggering $300 million. John Hilbert and Shar Mansukani from Heir Hunters International shed light on the overwhelming response they received following Prince's passing. Scores of individuals came forward, all vying for a piece of the pop star's legacy. Yet, amidst the clamor, the man's case emerged as particularly compelling. Their investigation into the man's claims is still in its infancy. He remains anonymous, preferring to keep a low profile and steer clear of the courtroom drama. Hilbert attests to the man's demeanor, describing him as level-headed and far from seeking the limelight. He's very nice, not crazy. He's somebody who's not starstruck crazy or wants to be famous. Not at all, Hilbert assures. What sets this man apart is his genuine desire for recognition, not for fame, but for acknowledgement of his rightful place in Prince's legacy. He values his privacy and intends to navigate this legal maze discreetly, ensuring his presence is felt only when the time is right. As Heir Hunters International delved deeper into the case, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. The man's account aligns with Prince's whereabouts during the 1980s, lending credence to his assertions. While the road ahead is fraught with uncertainty, the possibility of a life-changing inheritance looms large. But that's not all. There was another potential heir in the mix, too. The person claimed to be the offspring of Prince's father, John Nelson, a jazz musician who passed away in 2001. If these claims held water, it could mean big bucks for those involved. Under Minnesota law, any sibling of Prince stands to inherit a hefty sum if no direct descendant is found. John Hilbert, a partner at Heir Hunters International, spilled the beans to the Daily Mail Online about the flood of inquiries they've received since Prince's untimely passing. Phones ringing off the hook, emails pouring in. It's been non-stop. And while most of these claims might seem far-fetched, Hilbert believes at least two of them warrant further investigation. Obviously, they all can't be genuine claims, but we have established that at least two seem to be legitimate and will need further investigation. One person claims to be Prince's child, and another claims to be offspring of Prince's father. If there is a child, if Prince had one single child, that child will take all the inheritance. John Hilbert says during an interview. Now, Here's where it gets really interesting. Prince's sister, Tyka Nelson, then filed paperwork stating that her brother left no will behind. Without a will, the distribution of Prince's estate could get messy. According to Minnesota law, his assets would be divided up among his siblings, including Tika and several half-siblings. I do not know of the existence of a will and have no reason to believe that the decedent executed testamentary documents in any form, Nelson said in the paperwork. And then there's the issue of Prince's unreleased music, a treasure trove of unheard tracks that could be worth a fortune. With such valuable assets up for grabs, it's no wonder the battle over Prince's estate is heating up. The truth is as murky as a swamp on a foggy night. With no DNA tests or concrete evidence, it's hard to separate fact from fiction. Is this young man a legitimate heir to Prince's fortune, or is he just chasing rainbows in hopes of a pot of gold? Now let's talk about Prince's marriage with Métis and their only child they had together. I mean, Prince, the amazing musician everyone knows, fell in love with Métis Garcia, a talented dancer and singer, in the early 1990s. They clicked right away because they both loved music and understood what it's like to be super famous. Métis' beauty and graceful dancing stole Prince's heart like nothing else. Here it's how it started. Well, in 1990, when Garcia met the late music legend at a concert in Spain at just 16 years old. Her mother, Janelle, a big Prince fan, had passed on a video cassette of her daughter performing belly dancing routines to one of Prince's backup dancers. 5 days later, after watching the tape, Prince, who was previously engaged to Susanna Melvoin, hired Garcia to dance with his Diamonds and Pearls tour. His fondness for her even enabled her to record English and Spanish vocals for his albums. They were like two peas in a pod, especially when it came to music. Métis danced alongside Prince on stage, making their performances magical. People couldn't help but feel the love between them whenever they sang or danced together. In 1996, they decided to tie the knot. Their wedding was extravagant, with everyone talking about it. It was a big deal because they were such a perfect match. They seemed destined to be together forever. But life wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for them. Prince was super famous, which meant he had to travel a lot for work. This left Métis feeling lonely sometimes. Still, they stuck together through thick and thin, holding on to their love. Their joy knew no bounds when they welcomed their son, Amir, into the world in 1996. He was their little bundle of happiness. But sadly, their joy turned into sorrow when they found out that Amir had a rare sickness called Pfeiffer syndrome type 2, a rare genetic disorder that affects just 100,000 people in the world. In an extract from her new memoir, Shared with People, Garcia Nelson revealed there were signs of complications during her pregnancy. Everything went relatively smoothly until halfway through, when she began to bleed. Doctors recommended an amniocentesis to test for genetic abnormalities in the baby. However, Prince, a born-again Jehovah's Witness who believes angels cured his epilepsy, refused and insisted they turn to prayer. Please bless this child. We know you won't allow this child to be harmed, Garcia recalls Prince saying at the time while the two were on their knees. From that point forward, without a diagnostic reading, doctors could not fully explain or understand the baby's abnormal proportions. Garcia recalls how the nurses began to frantically work on Amir, while her husband asked the staff in the operating room, "Why is he not crying?" It was one of the few times she was able to hold and speak to her baby, who never left the hospital and immediately began to undergo operations and procedures to try and prolong his life. One of the doctors recommended a tracheotomy for the boy, but 6 days after her baby boy was born, Garcia began to realize the heartbreaking reality of the situation. Amir was still struggling to breathe, writes Garcia, and nothing seemed to be working to help his condition. "He's not leaving here, is he?" Garcia recalls asking her doctor. Despite trying everything to save him, he passed away just days after being born. It was a heartbreaking time for Prince and Métis. Losing Amir took a toll on their relationship. The pain was too much to bear, and they found it hard to stay as close as they once were. Eventually, in 1999, they decided to part ways. Their fairy tale romance had come to an end. It was very difficult for them, and I don't think they really recovered from that. I felt a very paternal feeling from him, but yet that was something that he never really had known, said Prince's former dancer Lindsley Allen in an interview with People last year. Garcia admits that she still thinks about her baby boy and how writing the memoir brought back many of the heartbreaking memories from this time. I've been making notes of my life, but when it finally came time to write it, it took me back, and I cried many tears. He would have been 27 this year, she continues. But I'm on the board for Pfeiffer syndrome, and it makes me happy to see that children are surviving it now. There's so much more research being poured into it. When Amir died, I couldn't find anything on it. So yes, it's painful, but it makes me happy knowing that I'm helping someone else, says Garcia, who wanted to make sure that she wrote the book from love. Even though they weren't together anymore, Prince and Mate remained friends. They leaned on each other for support, remembering the good times they had shared. In 2016, tragedy struck again when Prince passed away. It was a huge loss for everyone who loved him, especially Matey. She mourned the loss of her former husband, remembering him not just as a music superstar, but as the love of her life. Garcia says she'd heard Prince wasn't doing well and considered visiting him with her daughter, but ultimately decided not to. I kind of felt like he needed somebody, and I regret not going, she tells People. But then I also accept that it was just his time. It sucks. You never want to be ready for anybody to go, but I've come to a place where I can smile and think of him with love. I believe his spirit is still around, Garcia continues. There was definitely a soul connection. He was a very special person and will always be a special person in my life. Back to Mystery Man, while the idea of a secret love child may sound like something out of a Hollywood movie, we must approach it with caution and skepticism. Jumping to conclusions without facts only adds fuel to the fire of speculation. Well, nothing has been confirmed. It's all hearsay and gossip, like the stories your nosy neighbor shares over the fence. But still, it's got tongues wagging and heads turning. Who wouldn't be intrigued by such a tale? But let's not be too quick to judge. After all, stranger things have happened in the world of showbiz. Maybe there's a kernel of truth buried beneath all the hype and hoopla. Could he truly be the long-lost heir to Prince's fortune? Only time will tell. Until the day comes when the truth is revealed, we'll just have to sit back and enjoy the spectacle. Whether he's the real deal or just another pretender to the throne, one thing's for sure: the legacy of the prince would continue to live forever.